Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Only two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the former. Logic will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. Weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. The only source of knowledge is experience. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imagination. There are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle. You can live as if everything is a miracle. If we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? Any man who can drive safely while kissing a pretty girl is simply not giving the kiss the attention it deserves. Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. The only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death. Common sense is the collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. You can't blame gravity for falling in love. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. I live in that solitude which is painful in youth, but delicious in the years of maturity. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. Nationalism is an infantile disease. It is the measles of mankind. The value of a man should be seen in what he gives and not in what he is able to receive. The hardest thing to understand in the world is the income tax. Everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. A table, a chair, a bowl of fruit, and a violin. What else does a man need to be happy? Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. Intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. No amount of experimentation can ever prove me right. A single experiment can prove me wrong. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. Pure mathematics is, in its way, the poetry of logical ideas. I am not only a pacifist, but a militant pacifist. I am willing to fight for peace. Nothing will end war unless the people themselves refuse to go to war. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. Technological progress is like an axe in the hands of a pathological criminal. Memory is deceptive because it is colored by today's events. If you are out to describe the truth, leave elegance to the tailor. You cannot simultaneously prevent and prepare for war. The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. All that is valuable in human society depends upon the opportunity for development accorded the individual. The gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. I believe that a simple and unassuming manner of life is best for everyone, best both for the body and the mind. If people are good only because they fear punishment and hope for reward, then we are a sorry lot indeed. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. In matters of truth and justice, there is no difference between large and small problems, for issues concerning the treatment of people are all the same. Whoever undertakes to set himself up as a judge of truth and knowledge is shipwrecked by the laughter of the gods. A question that sometimes drives me hazy: am I or are the others crazy? Imagination is more important than knowledge. We cannot despair of humanity, since we ourselves are human beings. We still do not know 1/1000% of what nature has revealed to us. Never do anything against conscience, even if the state demands it. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. It is strange to be known so universally and yet to be so lonely. The distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. The environment is everything that isn't me. I do not believe that civilization will be wiped out in a war fought with the atomic bomb. Perhaps 2/3 of the people of the earth will be killed. Joy in looking and comprehending is nature's most beautiful gift. We should take care not to make the intellect our goal. It has, of course, powerful muscles, but no personality. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. Anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. There is no logical way to the discovery of these elemental laws. There is only the way of intuition, which is helped by a feeling for the order lying behind the appearance. The high destiny of the individual is to serve rather than to rule. Concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Most people say that it is the intellect which makes a great scientist. They are wrong. It is character. Without deep reflection, one knows from daily life that one exists for other people. Reading after a certain age diverts the mind too much from its creative pursuits. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. I never think of the future. It comes soon enough. A man should look for what is, and not for what he thinks should be. He who joyfully marches to music in rank and file has already earned my contempt. He has been given a large brain by mistake, since for him the spinal cord would suffice. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour and it seems like a minute. You can never solve a problem on the level on which it was created. The whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking. It is my conviction that killing under the cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder. I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go. I will do it elegantly. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. Few people are capable of expressing with equanimity opinions which differ from the prejudices of their social environment. Most people are even incapable of forming such opinions. Politics is for the present, but an equation is for eternity. Let every man be respected as an individual, and no man idolized. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle, requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. Science is a wonderful thing if one does not have to earn one's living at it. Do not worry about your difficulties in mathematics. I can assure you mine are still greater. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. True art is characterized by an irresistible urge in the creative artist. People love chopping wood. In this activity, one immediately sees results. Force always attracts men of low morality. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. I think and think for months and years. 99 times the conclusion is false. The 100th time I am right. It gives me great pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible nonconformist warmly acclaimed. An empty stomach is not a good political advisor. I am enough of an artist to draw freely upon my imagination. Mozart's music is so pure and beautiful that I see it as a reflection of the inner beauty of the universe. Heroism on command, senseless violence, and all the loathsome nonsense that goes by the name of patriotism. How passionately I hate them. Nothing is more destructive of respect for the government and the law of the land than passing laws which cannot be enforced. The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything save our modes of thinking, and we thus drift toward unparalleled catastrophe. You ask me if I keep a notebook to record my great ideas. I've only ever had one. Small is the number of people who see with their eyes and think with their minds. The release of atomic energy has not created a new problem. It has merely made more urgent the necessity of solving an existing one. The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. Confusion of goals and perfection of means seems, in my opinion, to characterize our age. The faster you go, the shorter you are. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge, but can never prove how it got there. Solitude is painful when one is young, but delightful when one is more mature. Knowledge of what is does not open the door directly to what should be. In order to be an immaculate member of a flock of sheep, one must above all be a sheep oneself. Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing. I very rarely think in words at all. A thought comes, and I may try to express it in words afterwards. The grand aim of all science is to cover the greatest number of empirical facts by logical deduction from the smallest number of hypotheses or axioms. To the master's honor, all must turn, each in its track, without a sound, forever tracing Newton's ground. The attempt to combine wisdom and power has only rarely been successful, and then only for a short while. It was the experience of mystery, even if mixed with fear, that engendered religion. The road to perdition has ever been accompanied by lip service to an ideal. One strength of the communist system of the East is that it has some of the character of a religion and inspires the emotions of a religion. Occurrences in this domain are beyond the reach of exact prediction because of the variety of factors in operation, not because of any lack of order in nature. Most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone. If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music. I see my life in terms of music. Too many of us look upon Americans as dollar chasers. This is a cruel libel, even if it is reiterated thoughtlessly by the Americans themselves. Isn't it strange that I, who have written only unpopular books, should be such a popular fellow? There could be no fairer destiny for any physical theory than that it should point the way to a more comprehensive theory in which it lives on as a limiting case. The process of scientific discovery is, in effect, a continual flight from wonder. It stands to the everlasting credit of science that by acting on the human mind, it has overcome man's insecurity before himself and before nature. As far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain, and as far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. All these primary impulses, not easily described in words, are the springs of man's actions. Human beings must have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. One may say the eternal mystery of the world is its comprehensibility. The man of science is a poor philosopher. It is only to the individual that a soul is given.